Stuart Gordon, the director of Fortress, The Pit and the Pendulum, and Reanimator, takes you into the dungeons of Castle Dorsino. Now an American family.
Welcome to Castle Riley, lady.
Will inherit a legacy of evil.
They say the castle is haunted.
And a master of modern horror. Will unleash his most terrifying creation. Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak.
There's somebody else here! There's somebody in the castle!
So I'm a Stuart Gordon fan. I think that there's certain things that people who can appreciate Stuart Gordon kind of can take on the chin or are willing to accept. Stuart Gordon likes to do whatever he wants to do when he makes a movie. He doesn't want anyone to say, you can't show that, we can't, that's too gratuitous. He's not about that. So in order to make the movie that he wants to make, he has to make it incredibly cheaply. He like almost to a micro budget stage. And at this point in the mid 90s, a lot of them were being shot in European countries with a lot of actors who didn't even necessarily speak the language, and they would just be redubbed in afterwards, which gives some of his movies, including this one, an almost giallo type feel. They almost feel like an old Argento movie or something like that.
Spaghetti horror.
Yeah, but they're not. But there's something other about them. So this movie, Castle Freak, which is very loosely based off of The Outsider by H.P. Lovecraft, so according to the screenplay author, brings the regulars from his crew of Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton to play a married couple, very unhappy, and they're bringing their blind daughter to this 12th century castle they've inherited in Italy.
Yes, before you go on,
Sorry.
I should tell your audience that it is Castle Freak. It's not Castle Freak. I thought
Freak.
Yes, I thought when I was going into this movie that this would be a castle that was named Freak, or perhaps
Castle Freak. I see what you're saying.
sort of like Castle Dracula or something like that. But no, this is the castle is the descriptor added to Freak. It is a freak
Within a castle.
within a castle.
Not a castle that is called Freak.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I thought that was clear, but that's okay. Yes, Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, husband and wife, very unhappy. They bring their daughter to this castle they've inherited in Italy, and their daughter is blind, and she starts complaining that there's some weird shenanigans going on in the castle. But the parents are so obsessed with their own, wounds and their own bullshit that they're not.
Well,
really
is it bullshit though? Because
No, it's not bullshit at all. Barbara Crampton has a really good case. I think actually one of the problems of the movie is how irredeemable Jeffrey Combs is as a character.
Well, his bullshit is basically the reason why his daughter is blind is because he blinded her in a car accident.
Drinking and driving and killed their son.
And their son died,
Yeah, so obviously there is strain on the marriage, and I know that he's disappointed that he doesn't have a sex life anymore, but boo fucking who? And he's an alcoholic, and he consistently makes bad decisions until basically the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Right?
On the other hand, he discovers he's now a duke.
Yes, and he has a brother.
Yes. Although the fact that he has a brother reveals itself throughout the course of the movie.
We allow spoilers. I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, that's the basic structure of it. It is very cheap, and it's more seriously toned than Stuart Gordon typically tends to go for. He tends to be a little bit bigger and a little bit more out there. And I think it could be accused of A, maybe taking too much of its time, and B, yes, being rough around the edges because of its budget.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, I like it more than I don't. I'm not going to say that it doesn't have problems, but there's something about Castle Freak.
There is something about Castle Freak, and you're right. Stuart Gordon makes the movie that he wants to, or tries to get as close to it. And you can always be guaranteed, watching a Stuart Gordon flick, that you're going to see something you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's some brutal things. Have you seen in another movie, for instance, Larry, a crotch shot of a horrible person who's been castrated?
I have not.
Yeah.
Oh, poor old Stumpy.
Yeah. Have you then seen this wretched individual then proceed to bite into a woman's breast and chew on her because he doesn't know any better?
I hadn't seen that until I watched this movie, and yet by your description you would think, oh, why would I watch such a horrible, terrible thing? Well, to be fair, the movie is pretty upfront about its castle freakness. I mean,
Yes.
it is in the title.
Yes.
And sex and violence are always a part of the horror genre. What I would say is that I'm not sure how Lovecraft this feels to me.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I think that this does not resemble The Outsider from
In
what I
any
can
real
remember.
way.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay.
You can say influenced by or inspired by. I mean, he has done some straight Lovecraft adaptations. Reanimator, he did the Masters of Horror in the Witch House, or Dreams in the Witch House.
Dreams of the Witch House was a nice. That was a very good adaptation.
And as you know, I'm a huge defender of Dagon. Lame CGI or not, I'm a huge defender of Dagon.
Yes. So, one of the things I really enjoy about this movie is that it leaves a lot to the imagination. And well, first of all, the castle freak himself is a very pitiable creature.
And it still does evil things. There's that Frankenstein thing. It still manages to be a monster, but this is a horrible thing that happened to something. It's a freak now, but it started as a person.
Yes, and that's part of the brilliance of the show. There's this whole story that we don't know about. We know that the castle freak had a mom.
Yeah.
That daily, right before he was fed, beat him. And we know that she horribly disfigured his face with something. We know she castrated him for some reason. We know that she broke his leg for some reason. And we know that the freak's dad and our main character's dad. What's our main character's name?
Sorry, Jeffrey Combs is playing a character whose name is John Riley.
Yes. So we know that John Riley's dad at one point was married to this woman and went to America and took John with him.
Yes.
And we can presume from what happened to the castle freak
That might have had something to do with it?
that his dad might have said, "Oh my God, I think I've married the worst person in the world. I have to get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
And
I agree.
and I like that this horrible story is hiding in the background of the main events of the picture.
Yeah. This family thinks it's got problems. This family thinks it's fucked up. But no. Castle Freak, by contrast, you guys have had some bumps in the road. His car went off the fucking cliff.
Yes.
Right? I also thought maybe they were playing with this thing where, because it's his brother, there's another thing when we talk about the Dunwich horror with twin brothers, right? He had all the opportunity in the world, and his brother was tortured and beaten in a room for his entire life. Mm-hmm. And yet, Jeffrey Combs is still kind of a monster in his own way, isn't he?
In a lot of ways, though, it's just alcoholism, right? I know behaviors drive alcoholism, but at some point, alcohol takes over.
Yeah. Well, speaking of someone who works in a drunk tank, one of the phrases that I had the least sympathy for was, "But I was drunk."
Yes.
But when you get drunk, you do terrible things. Even if you don't remember it, when you get drunk, you do terrible things, right? It's somehow the fact that they don't remember it, or the fact that they wouldn't have done it if they weren't drunk, somehow absolves them. Never has worked for me, not in reality or fiction.
So imagine then that you're the type of person that can't help but drink.
Yeah.
And you're so filled with shame about the things that you do when you're drunk, and that feeds in to that personal shame that makes you drink.
Yeah,
more
I
and
can
more.
see that, but I'd like to think that I wouldn't deal with it by bringing a prostitute to my home. Like,
I have never
get
done
a
that
fucking
while I
hotel
was
room
drunk.
at the least. At the very least, if you must do that, like, don't bring her home. What are you doing?
It was a very big house.
Yes,
A very big
it's a
castle.
it's a castle.
Yes.
Like, the castle freak can run around in it for days and they don't notice
It's
it.
big enough to hide a freak.
Yeah.
There's enough room there to bring a prostitute back.
Well, I want to show this movie to my kids just so I can let them know that there might be a freak in their house.
Yeah.
the evil Bart crawling around in the attic.
Well, sometimes you can't help but have thoughts like that when you're a kid. I remember a house in Melford I was in was divided up into suites, and in the basement we had access to the basement, but there was just this blocked off door. And as a kid, the blocked off door gains some imaginative properties.
Yes, bad things, only bad things.
Yes.
Jumping behind it. I like Castle Freak, but here's the thing: like, it's one of those ones that I have a hard time recommending to people because I think the audience for it is kind of specific.
I wouldn't recommend Castle Freak to too many people.
And yet I still kind of like it, but it's a very specific thing that they're riding here.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fun to maybe watch with Beckman if he's never seen it and watch him cringe.
Squirm.
Yes.
And again, Stuart Gordon is so good for that. I mean, he won't make a movie that you won't, like, remember. There'll be at least a couple of scenes that you were like, holy shit, did they ever go there? Right?
Yes.
It's also interesting, Barbara Crampton, who plays the much beleaguered wife, he's used her in a lot of his films, but usually she's very highly sexualized and required to be naked on an altar or, some context of that. And she's used as an actress here, and Barbara Crampton, on top of being a really a highly sexualized figure, is a really good actress. She's actually kind of had a revitalization in her career lately. She was in movies like You're Next and We Are Still Here. She's showing up as a character actor in some horror movies, and she's got the goods, and she doesn't have to take her clothes off to prove that. So.
Well, good for her.
And, we saw other nudity. It wasn't that he skimped on.
Yes. You're generally going to see nudity in a Stuart Gordon movie.
You're generally just going to see stuff that will make you shocked. I remember I reviewed this movie Stuck that he did, and one of the early scenes in that movie, we see an adult diaper changed, like, fully on screen, right? And you just do not expect to see that. That's where we tastefully cut away, right?
Wow, Hollywood magic.
Right?
Wow.
Nope. So he's going to show you things that maybe you don't want to see, but that gives this weird, unstable quality to the movie because you don't know it. And a lot of horror movies will just establish this by showing you something shocking early in the movie so that you think, oh man, what are they going to show us next? Stuart Gordon doesn't have to do that. You just know, because it's Stuart Gordon, we're going to step over the line and we're going to do a little dance. And if that sounds like something you can get behind, then for sure try out Castle Freak. If you're a more casual viewer, I think a lot of people will find it slowly paced and cheaply made and, shocking for the sake of shocking. And I think it's better than that, but I'm sympathetic to that perception. Now,
as far as the madness of the movie, there's a meta angle to this movie that seems kind of maddening to me as well. And that it's a movie that almost seems caught out of time. Because when I was watching it, I was thinking it was a movie that was made in the 80s. Because Jeffrey Combs looks so young in it.
No, I think it's 90s.
It is. Yeah. And so I was shocked to discover that it came out in 1995. And I was like, how does Jeffrey Combs look so young in this movie and then look so old like 1 year later when he's in The Frighteners?
Yeah.
And how, like,
this experience obviously was hard on him.
Yeah. The prostitute looks like she's from the 80s.
Yeah.
And so many, like, the music sounds like it's from the 80s. The film quality looks 80s, yet it's from 1995.
Yeah.
And
it was released direct-to-video here. I think it saw screens in some of the European markets, but I think it just looked too cheap to even try to throw it up on a screen in the States.
And then somehow, I watched a special feature. I don't know how this happened, but there's like a retrospective with Captain Kirk, William Shatner.
Bill Shatner, the Shat himself.
Interviewing Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton and Stuart Gordon. I don't know when this was done. I'm assuming sometime in the 2000s. And I don't know why it was done. I don't know why it's William Shatner doing the interview. And I don't know why it was important enough to do a retrospective about. But it was really weird to see that.
Well, it's just one of those things. It's weird that it exists. It's like almost impossible that it exists. But I'm kind of glad that it exists.
Like many Stuart Gordon movies.
Yeah. The freak that's chained in my castle is the shell of William Shatner.
Good to know.
Good to know.